G'day and welcome to another video. In today's lesson we will learn how to make this really pretty popcorn stitch granny square. It's great for using up small amounts of yarn, so let's get started on the lesson. Our supplies we're going to need are crochet hook and some yarn. I've got worsted weight. You can use 8-ply or double knit. It doesn't really matter what yarn you use as long as your crochet hook goes with your yarn. I'm using a 5mm or an I size hook. A H size hook. I'm going to need some scissors and a darning needle or a yarn needle. And also we've got the written pattern. We're going to follow along with that today. And I will put the link below in the more info box underneath the video screen. Go to my website and print that off. And what we need to do is grabbing the center colour that we want. You can make this in all one colour, but I think it also looks good in the two colours. And you could also use 3 colours because the granny square part has 2 rows to it, so you could have 2 different colours for that one and also different colours for your flower. So first of all, we want to make a magic ring. There are plenty of ways to do this, but you can wrap it around your fingers like so, or you can make a ring just by placing the short length onto the top of that. But I like to turn it around so that my yarn coming off my yarn ball is on the left hand side. So like I said, there's plenty of different ways to do magic rings. You could also use the method chain 4 and join, but I find for this one the magic ring is a lot better for this style of granny square. So we're going to grab our yarn and pull through. And we're going to work a chain 1. Now this doesn't count as a stitch. What we're going to do is work 8 single crochets into the center, and I'm just going to pull on my short strand just to make that ring a bit smaller and easier to work with. So we need 8 single crochets into the center. So going into the middle of the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 into the center, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. Going to need 8 of these. So make sure you've got 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Remembering the chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. So we can pull the center tight now just to close that up. And join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. If you want to change colours, finish off. So going into the first stitch, yarn over and pull through. And that joins that. We can keep pulling on that center piece to make that hole get smaller. And I am going to finish off. So cut off your yarn, leaving about 2 to 3 inches tail to work in later. And then chain 1 and pull out. You can of course keep the same colour, but I'm going to change colour for this one. So we want to join our yarn. I'm going to choose a pink one now. So that centre piece didn't use very much yarn at all, did it really? So that's a great way to use up little bits of scraps. So joining your new colour, I just like to lay the yarn on top of the hook, like so. And then I pull through. It says to chain 3, so I chain 1 to secure, pull the short piece at the back, chain 3, and that counts as the first double crochet. 6 double crochets into the same stitch as the chain 3. So finding where we joined our yarn, or if you didn't join your yarn, you're just going to the same stitch as the chain 3. and we need to work 6 more double crochets. So that's 1, wrapping the yarn going in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's, we need 7 altogether, so it's a chain 3 and 6 double crochets. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, because each petal is made up of 7 stitches, and our chain 3 counts as our first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double crochets and a chain 3. So you would finish that last stitch like so. Then it says remove the hook and put hook into the top of the chain 3. So we've taken our hook out and we're going to the top of the chain 3. So we've done that. And place the loop back on your hook. So the loop we just took off, put that back on. Pull up a loop and pull tight. So get on there. Pull up a loop. So we're pulling through the chain 3 there. And it says pull tight. So pulling tight, just make sure that this section over here joins up over and touches the other section. And chain 2.
If you find the chain too tight,
7 double crochets into the next stitch. So finding the next stitch and working 7 double crochets. So that's 1, all in the same stitch. Remove the hook and put into the first double crochet of the 7 that you just completed. So going back to the first double crochet, so you'll have a chain 2 space there, so it's into that first double crochet. Put the yarn back on the hook and pull through the loop. So pull through, pull tight, and then chain 2. This is a lot faster if I wasn't going so slow to show you what to do. It is a lot faster when you get your speed up. And then it has another star, and it says repeat from star to star until you have 8 popcorn stitches. So we've got 2, there's 1 and 2, and we're going to keep going around, and we will have 8. So in each stitch around, we need to work our 7 double crochets. I'm trying to work over my tails as I go, so I don't have to sew them in later. Oh, more funs today. So working 7 double crochets into the next stitch. Just put up a little loop so we don't lose it. Go back to the first double crochet. Put the loop back on the hook. Pull through. Pull tight, and that just makes sure that they go around and touch at the back, so it makes it look like a petal. And then we're going to chain 2. So keep repeating that, doing 7 double crochets in each stitch, and then working your little magic to make it meet at the back and you chain 2 in between. So I'll do one more, and then we're going to repeat this all the way around. So into the next stitch, working 7 double crochets. Pulling up that little loop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Going back to the first double crochet of that 7 we just did, grabbing that loop, pulling through, pulling tight, and then chaining 2. Repeat this all the way around until we get back to the last stitch on the round. So I've done my last petal, and I should have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I've done my chain 2, and then we've got to join this here. So looking at the back of our work, that's the next, so this is the last petal I just did, that's the next one. We're going to join, this is the chain 2 that's coming out of it, we're going to join into that first stitch there. Can you see how I've gone through the stitch at the top? So I've got into that little hole there, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch. I'm just going to pull that loop out, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these ends. And I've actually worked over this purple one here. This one here is the center from my magic ring, but I actually crocheted over that end, so I know I can cut that off. If you didn't work over it, you need to sew that one in. But then we can work, pull that tight, and then sew this in. So we always work our ends in on the back of our work. That way we can't see it at the front. You shouldn't really be able to see it anyway, but just in case you can, at least it's at the back of the work. So I'm just going under stitches. It's a little bit hard because the stitches are only little. So after you've worked your yarn in quite a bit, we can cut off our tail. And then we have our first part of our granny square. You could also use this as just a flower by itself. I think that would look really, really pretty. Just by itself. And you would just finish off this row, and then, well, you can keep a long tail to sew it onto things. I think that would look really pretty. It's just a flower. So we're going to start the granny rounds now. So this is where the fun starts. Should I make another colour? Yes, I think I will use another colour. So I'm actually going to finish off that colour. So I'm going to cut off that and finish off. You don't need to change colours, but I think it's going to look pretty. Great way to use up lots of odds and ends that you've got laying about, because I know I've got plenty. So I might use the purple again, just to change it up a bit. So you can join your new colour. If you're already using the same colour, that's fine. Join your colour into any of the chain 2 spaces, and the chain 2 spaces are between our petals, just to the back there. So going into that chain 2 space, grabbing your new colour, and then working a chain 1 to secure. Pull down the short piece at the back, and if you are using the same colour, you may need to work a slip stitch into your chain 2 space. We want to be working out of our chain 2 space. So chaining up 3, we're going to do our corner first. I'm going to try and work over those tails as I go. So we're doing 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space. Chain 2 and 3 double crochets into that same chain 2 space. Oops, helps if you yarn over first. So 1, we need 3 all together, all into this same space here, because this is the corner of our granny square. So if you've made a granny square before, you'll know what that means. If not, this is the corner, so that's one edge, and that's the other edge. Into the next chain 2 space, so you may need to, just grabbing some yarn, you may need to just flip it over to the back so you can see your chain 2 space. If not, just pull apart the petals and there'll be a gap in the middle. So yarning over, going into the chain 2 space, and working 3 double crochets. If you've made a granny square before and you normally put a chain 1 in between your groups of 3, you're most welcome to do that as well. And if you've never made a granny square before, I would suggest just sticking with this pattern. So into the next chain 2 space, we're working 3 double crochets. Chain 2. What I like to do is just encourage it to go over to the side. So I just grab it and give it a gentle tug, and then 3 double crochets into that same chain 2 space. Let's zoom out a bit. So that was another corner that we just worked there. So we've got a straight side and then we've got a couple of corners. So the next one, and what we're doing is we're alternating between 3 double crochets into here and then a corner. So we've got corner and then 3 and then a corner. So the next one's 3. Into the next chain 2 space, we're working 3 double crochets, chain 2, just like to gently tug it over there, and 3 double crochets, and that's all into the same space. See, we've got another corner coming out of there. So the next one is 3 double crochets. Into the next space. I'm going to just carry on until we finish this row. Next space, we're going to work a corner. So next chain 2 space. So it's 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets all into the same corner. Into the next chain 2 space, which is our last chain 2 space, we're going to work 3 double crochets. So now we're at the end of our round. We're going to join into the top of the chain 3. with a slip stitch. That's looking really pretty already. And you might want to just give them a little bit of shape. Righty. So the next row is another row of granny square. And you can continue this granny square as big as you like, but I'm just going to show you how to do the next row. So into the next 2 stitches, we're going to slip stitch. So into the top here, into the top there, and also into the chain 2 space. We're going to chain up 3, 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space because we're working our corner. Chain 2. I like to just nudge it around again, and we're going to work so 3 double crochets into that chain 2 space. And from now on, let me just get rid of that piece there. From now on, we will have a space in between the lots of 3 double crochets, and that's where we put 3 double crochets. So into the space that's in between, work 3 double crochets. Into the next space, work 3 double crochets. And into the corner space, we're going to work another corner. So it's 3 double crochets. Chain 2. I just like to move that over a little bit, and then 3 double crochets. And we're going to repeat this around until we get back to the beginning, working 3 double crochets into each space here, and then a corner on the corner. And once we get to the end of our round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. Going into the top. Helps if you actually go into the top. There we go. And slip stitch. And this is the end of the pattern. If you want to add more rows, you slip stitch across again over into the chain 2 space, and then on your corners you work your corner, so that's 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and into the gaps in between the 3 double crochets, that's where you work 3 double crochets. So I hope you enjoyed that pattern. Thank you for watching. Please share your creations on our Facebook page. Also, my new website there is a link in the description box below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy crochet.